In one semester, Doug and Laura spent a combined 250 hours in the tutoring lab. If Doug spent 40 more hours in the lab than Laura did, how many hours did Laura spend in the lab? So let's put down the information that we're provided. We're told that the number of hours that Doug spent, let's write it mathematically as Doug hours, and those that Laura spent in the tutoring lab, and let's call those Laura hours. If we combine the two, which means we add the two, then we should get the number 250 because they together spent 250 hours. What we're also told is that Doug spent 40 more hours in the lab. So that means that Doug hours equals the number of Laura hours plus 40, because Doug spent 40 more hours than Laura. With this information, we can actually put together a good equation already. So the number of Laura hours plus 40, which is the number of hours that Doug spent in the tutoring lab, plus the number of hours that Laura spent in the lab, Laura hours, equals to 50. Let's replace the long wording of Laura hours into just a letter L. And what we get is L plus 40 plus L equals to 50. And L plus 40 represents the number of hours Doug spent in the tutoring lab, because if L is the number of Laura hours, then Doug's is 40 more. And at this point, it comes down to using our mathematical manipulation techniques. So L plus L equals 2L plus 40 on the left-hand side equals to 50. Let's now isolate 2L on the left-hand side. Let's first move the operation of addition to the right-hand side. And the way we do it is by neutralizing plus 40 by subtracting 40. And we do that on both sides of the equation. As a result, we have 2L equals 250 minus 40, or 210. And to find L for Laura hours, we at this point need to neutralize the operation of multiplying by 2. And we do so by dividing by 2 both sides. What we get is, on the left-hand side is an L representing the number of hours that Laura spent in the lab. And on the right-hand side, we have 210 divided by 2, or 105. So our solution tells us that Laura spent 105 hours in the lab. Let's refer to the question. In the problem, it asks us how many hours did Laura spend in the lab? And this is our answer. Laura spent 105 hours in the lab. To check our answer, let's now go back and try to define the number of hours that Doug spent in the lab, and that equals 105 plus 40, or 145. We already know that Laura spent 105. And if we add the 2, we should get 250. And we do, because 145 plus 105 equals 250. So our final answer is 105, and we're very comfortable with this answer. One final note: the reason that we expressed Doug hours in Laura hours has to do with the fact that it is very hard to solve an equation with 2 unknowns. So by defining Doug hours in terms of Laura hours, we brought this complexity to only one single unknown, L. And then, of course, you saw that it was a matter of time until we found the answer. And then using one unknown, we can then solve for the second unknown, Doug hours. And that was easy.